Right. So, continuing to talk about, I think we briefly touched on personalities within Indian cricket and how often our heroes have been batsmen. And so, one of the things I think you mentioned in the book as well, very briefly, was the Gavaskar Kapil Dev rift. Growing up, I've read reports about Tendulkar versus Ganguly or MS Dhoni versus Sehwag. Nowadays, there's Rohit Sharma versus Virat Kohli. Like all these rifts. And I've always wondered, since you've been closer to these cricketers, how much do you think this is actual rift versus people just trying to make something out of it to have people watch their shows or read their articles? And I almost feel like it also comes a little bit from hero worship. There's this idea that our cricketers are our heroes, and a subset will put Virat Kohli on a pedestal, the other subset will put Rohit Sharma on a pedestal, and that causes some of this. So, your thoughts on that?
I think it's mainly driven by fans in social media, of course. I mean, you can see how Rohit's fans will troll Virat when he gets out cheaply, and similarly, the Virat fans will hit out at Rohit Sharma fans. So there's no such rift. Believe me, you cannot have the BCCI. Just give it a thought. Uh, just give it a thought that Benny is the captain, and you and I have rift. Would he allow that? He has to lead the team. He has to
Right.
ensure the dressing room there is a very kind of very homely, very friendly atmosphere, and that cannot happen if there are two players who are not talking to each other. It doesn't happen. There will always be personality clashes, but not rift. I mean, if you see Mr. Gavaskar and Mr. Kapil Dev, both very strong in their areas, right? And I can share with you this very funny thing when both were summoned to Delhi, and there was so much of talk in the media that they were against each other, and Gavaskar and Kapil Dev not talking to each other. It's not having good impact on the game. So when they came to Delhi to meet Mr. Salve, who was the board president, so before going to meet the president, Mr. Gavaskar was having lunch with Mr. Kapil Dev in Mr. Kapil Dev's house,
Okay.
right? Yeah. So, and a few occasions when people thought Dravid versus Tendulkar, I had the privilege of going out with them for a lunch or a dinner with both of them, and both were I could never sense any uh, what should I say, any ill feeling for each other. They had never. They always had respect. They respected each other's game, and Tendulkar played his way. Dravid had his own style. So I never believed, and I will never believe that they ever had a go at each other. There was some friction after the retirement, that declaration, if you remember,
Mm.
on the Pakistan tour.
Yep.
Yeah, and that was also again sorted out. Test match. The next match, they were back to their, and it is natural. You will
Right.
feel bad, right? There
Yeah.
was, yeah, and I can tell you, Hari Gidwani was one cricketer who should have played for India, batsman. Unfortunately, he did not. He was on 99 when Mr. Bedi declared. He declared the innings. He was stranded in 99 in a Ranji Trophy match. But never did Hari Gidwani in his life utter or show disrespect to Mr. Bedi, because he said he's my captain and he knew best what he was doing. Probably I was taking too long to get that one run to go from 99 to 100. So so these things will happen when you've played a long career. At some point there will be some friction somewhere, but that doesn't mean they would have disrespect. Virat, if you see Virat and Rohit, have you publicly seen them glaring at each other, or trying to run down each other, or you see their comments for each other are so respectful. I mean, they have
Right.
such praise for each other, and it cannot happen, believe me. The cricket board and the coach will not allow such things to happen in the dressing room, because nothing escapes their scrutiny.
Can
Right.
I just say that
No.
Can I just say
Go
that if
ahead.
I was on 99 and
Hmm.
my captain declared, I probably would not be as forgiving as
Yeah.
Mr. Gidwani.
Yes.
But
Yes.
the other thing that I was thinking about is, see, just like in a regular workplace, you don't have to be friends with your coworkers. And in a professional team, you don't need to be friends with your teammates. As long as whatever differences are there between the two of you, that doesn't affect the performance of the team. If you can still be civil to each other and still
Hmm.
help the team win and play well, I think that's more important than being buddy buddy with each other and making a big show of it. So I think there's too much emphasis on riffs and, oh, this player doesn't like the other player, or even if there's truth to it, I don't see any issue as long as it doesn't affect the team.
When in a long career, suppose four of us have to, we work for 10 years, right?
Hmm.
There will be times when we will disagree with each other. We
Right,
will.
Absolutely.
I may not like what you have said, but that doesn't mean disrespect. There's
Right.
nothing, you can always disagree. So that cannot be taken as a rift, nah. I mean,
Right.
if you see how a selection committee goes when they sit and pick the team, you at some point you might feel that they are going to pick up chairs and hit each other. It comes to that point. But once the meeting is over, they all sign on the sheet, and it goes as a unanimous choice.
right,
But Benny all the time would have opposed Dravid's inclusion. Vijay would have opposed Rohit Sharma's inclusion. Mayank would have said, "I don't want Kumble," and right, and Himanish would have said, "I don't want Kapil Dev." But at the end of the meeting, the names will be put, 16 names, and you will have to sign. So that is
right,
how it is. And then when they come out of the room, they're normal, because
Right.
yeah, so nobody holds such things against each other. In a long career, there will be stages when you will have arguments, when you there'll be occasions when you may not speak to I and Mayank may not speak to each other for a week or so. I don't want to see his face, but on eighth day I'll realize, no, no, we have to exist and do our job. So that is how it is.
right.
Right. It reminds me of an interview that Hardik Pandya had where he was asked about Rohit Sharma and the Mumbai Indians camp, and he said something very honest. He said basically that I don't necessarily talk a lot about cricket with Rohit. He's not my closest friend, and he said something like that, and it was very honest and refreshing to see. And the funny thing was, if Hardik Pandya was, as big a name as Rohit Sharma is or Virat Kohli is in Indian cricket, I'm sure that would have been like headline, and everybody would have been like, "Oh, these two don't get along," or
Exactly,
something like
exactly.
that. Reading too much into it.
Yes, yes, and I think we as Indians tend to read a lot into such things, which can be just, such things should be ignored in the interest of the team.
Right.
And yeah, if you understand sport, you will realize that there are high points and low points, and there are occasions when you may say something which you may not mean. I mean, have you remember Sachin shouting at Lakshman at Sharjah during that innings,
Right.
1998, and
Hmm.
he gave him a. I mean, it was Lakshman was shocked. Even today, he says, "Oh my God, I was shocked." Sachin shouting, and then another point, how Lakshman shouted at
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Pragyan Oja.
Noja. Yes, I remember
Remember,
that.
that was not Lakshman's nature.
Right.
So Oja was shocked, and but that is how it is. So Lakshman never meant what he said, or Sachin never meant what he said to Lakshman. So these things will be there. Dhoni,
Right.
remember Dhoni once, there was this video of Dhoni abusing one of the players,
Manish
and
Pandey.
Manish Pandey, right? Manish Pandey. Okay, so that's it. But he didn't hold anything. It's not that he will hold it against Manish Pandey for life. It was just a
Right.
momentary thing.
In the moment. Yep.
Mm, yeah.
I think we're just quicker to judge players harshly, but it's just that they're in the spotlight, they're on TV. It's easier to judge. But then if you look at your own life or your own workplace, think about the number of times, you may have had a very harsh disagreement with a coworker. So it's just life. It's just, It's just in our face, and that's why it just seems so much more prominent.
Yeah, I mean, in my profession, like my department, we were five of us. We have worked so closely all our life in the Hindu. My senior colleague KP Mohan, Rakesh Rao, Kamesh Srinivasan, Rajshekhar Rao, who is now the media manager at the ICC, right? And Sarangi is my colleague. So at different points, we have had arguments, we have had disagreements, but today we back each other. They still continue to be very, very, what should I say? We have such a strong bonding. It has come from working together so many years and respecting each other's work. I can't be
Right.
always wrong, right, Benny. I can't always be right. I will make mistakes. So it's the quicker you accept your follies, better for you, not for them. They know you have made a
Absolutely.
mistake, so it helps you to improve and grow. So that is how it is in an dressing room.